Good morning, Faith family, and a Merry Christmas to all of you. This morning, our homes are filled with joy and excitement, maybe even a little bit of laughter, and I know in my house, Christmas chaos. Maybe you've already opened some of your presents and now you're sitting down to a meal with your family. But before we get all caught up in the rush of the season, let's pause and remember that on this day 2,000 years ago, the greatest gift was ever given. And it was placed in a manger, just like down there. A child was born to us, a Savior who is Christ the Lord. Imagine the scene. A young woman, Mary, holding that baby in her arms, surrounded by livestock and probably a little bit of a smell. It wasn't the kind of birth anyone expected the Savior of the world to come into. And yet in that moment, heaven broke in and God made his home with us. The Bible tells us that when the shepherds heard of the good news from the angels, they were filled with fear. But the angels said to them, "Do not be afraid, for I bring you good news of great joy that is for all people." You see, this message we celebrate today is the good news that brings great joy to all people, to you, to me. But what does this mean for us right now? In this moment, in the midst of our Christmas celebration. The good news means that just as Jesus came into the world to be among us, he's also come to be among us in our mess, with wrapping paper all over the floor. He's come to us in our homes today. He's come to us in the moments of joy and also in the moments of struggle. Into the moments of quiet reflection. No matter what your Christmas looks like this morning, God is with you, offering to you his peace and joy in the midst of it all. We read in John chapter 1:14, "The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory and the glory of the one and only Son, that who comes from the Father, full of grace and truth." Today, as we reflect on the birth of Jesus, we remember that God didn't stay distant in heaven. He came near to us, living among us, experiencing our joys, our sorrows, and ultimately giving up his life on the cross for you and for me. You see, the presence of Christ in our lives today, in our homes, isn't just about celebrating his birth, but it's also about receiving his grace, the gift of grace won for us on the cross, and sharing it with those around us. Maybe this means that there is someone at your table today that needs your forgiveness. Or maybe there's a neighbor that you can take a meal to. Or just simply send a text sharing an encouraging word to someone in your life who might be struggling. Just as Jesus showed his love through his life and sacrifice, we are called to live out our lives in his love, in our homes, in our relationships, in our jobs, in our communities. You see, on this Christmas morning, let us remember the peace of Christ isn't just offered in a feeling, but it's a reality. It's a truth. The peace of Christ comes into our homes, our hearts, our lives today. It isn't just a peace that calms our fears or gives us hope for the future. It reminds us that no matter where we are or what we're facing, God is with us. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and he will never leave us nor forsake us. So as we continue this morning and later on this afternoon to celebrate, let us give thanks for the greatest gift ever, Jesus, our Savior. Let us carry that peace and joy and love of Christmas with us, not just today, but every day. As we, as Christians, reflect His light in our homes, our communities, to the world. Faith family, Merry Christmas and God's blessings.